Thank you. Welcome, witches and wizards. And so, how Tuesdays usually go is I play games. Not today. Parasite, good to see you. Not today. Because my plan is, and thanks to all of you, is to do a story stream. I've had this up and I gave it a month and I was like, let's see if people want it. And lo and behold, we are here now. The visual isn't moving. I haven't started telling stories yet, that's why. So as you can see on screen, let me know if this is too jarring. I was gonna have this playing in the background while I tell my stories. I feel like it may be a bit too trippy. We'll see. But anyway, I have 5 stories lined up. And some of them it felt like a graft trying to find these. These are stories, 3 of the 5 stories are stories that I'd heard ages ago and I really wanted to tell them. What's going on? Today's the story stream. So I don't know how long this is gonna last. Who knows? I might blitz it through 5 stories in an hour and we might be able to play games for an hour afterwards. But I'm not gonna rush it. And before I say that, I've also got 2 new books for my crystal shop. The Crystal Bibles. Amazing. They give you everything you need on every crystal you'd ever need. I've got about 400 crystals, descriptions of crystals here. Dude, get out of here. I left my freezer. Touche, Witchy. Tell him to get out of it. I'm not going to have this on screen. I'll keep it off screen when I'm reading them. Oh, this is a lot prettier than I thought it was. But lo and behold, if we are ready, I will happily start with the relaxing session. The only other thing I was going to say before I started was I had my first one-shot D&D campaign on the weekend. So I've been taking part in a long campaign on Family Unit's channel. And that's been absolutely amazing. And then I was trying out Roll20, which is like an online way of playing. And it was incredible that first of all, I just looked on and it was like in half an hour there's a one-shot beginning, and I joined it randomly just to see what it was like. Well, 4 hours later I'd finished. Fought off Earth Elementals, had a fat demon boss at the end that the DM told us if we hadn't killed the boss the round before, it would have one-shot us. And we're there going, jeez, yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'm wondering if reading was somewhat accurate. How did the session go? Are you talking about yesterday, rolling dice? I've also downloaded the video, so hopefully either tomorrow morning or definitely by tomorrow night I'll have the Reiki session up. They're reading. That should go. The Reiki session should be on my YouTube channel, which is in the About Me section. On the session, can't remember if it was for this week. Did a reading last week. Oh, I remember. No, you told me there would be a maze, and technically we were all very confused. But there was no maze. So technically you weren't wrong. But you definitely got me gassed. Got the devil card at the end. Touche. No games. There may be later. Saying that, I think we should get started. We are doing a story time, as I've promised. God, oh Lord, good to see you. Also, could we get a shout out for Rolling Dice? For the amazing animations he does for us. But if we are ready, counting star, the queue is closed. We are not doing tarot streams today. We are storytelling. And I am starting with a story about the Tea Warrior. Animation pog. Screaming a bit on the download for me. Just busy writing songs, animating and setting up for summer. Nice. Warrior Princess, welcome. Goddess, I didn't even notice you there. Hiya, welcome. So I'm going to treat this almost like a Reiki session. I won't be talking to chat while I'm reading a story. We can catch up after, and they're not long stories. I can't imagine any of them being longer than a Reiki session. For story time. I hope so, Parasite. I hope so. But today we find out. Let me get it all up. There we go. So, if you are all ready, start to relax. Try to engage your breath. Almost treat this as a meditation. And I will begin. On a mountain lived a famous tea master. His skills in this art was unsurpassed, and many came from far and wide to sit at his tea house. One day, an impatient samurai burnt his tongue on the master's green tea. Enraged, he challenged the master to a duel. As the warrior drew his sword, the master turned to his young apprentice. I have done nothing but make tea my whole life. This duel is surely the end of me. The tea house is yours, my student. But the student cried out, "No, master, take my sword. Face this warrior and raise your weapon in the same way you raise the teapot." The master walked slowly into the courtyard and the samurai rushed to attack. Then the master closed his eyes and raised his weapon steadily towards heaven with the same grace and strength as he would command in his tea rituals. At this display of balance, the samurai panicked and thought this old man must be a master swordsman. The samurai fled the tea house, never to return. Is this Uncle Iroh? Could be. Very, although he is a master swordsman as well. It's it's a beautiful story that just makes you appreciate that you don't have to master everything in one lifetime. That mastering one thing is enough. And therefore you can also do only what you enjoy. And you can forget about the things that don't bring you joy in life. Because by mastering what you're good at, what brings you happiness is enough. And that was the Tea Warrior. And if there is anything in the chat, I'll always check it between stories. But we can continue. And the next story is called Full Awareness. And this is a very short one indeed. No, don't worry, Roland. Let me know if the music's too loud also. Oops. Come on. I hope it's alright. Hey, Nobu. Welcome in. And thank you for what looks like the resub, Nobu. Also, there was a guy called Angry Burrito who dropped me a Prime sub when I was offline. So if they see one of these videos, thank you very much for that also. But I shall continue on to the next story. After 10 years of studying, a monk attained the rank of Zen teacher. One rainy day, soon after his advancement, he journeyed to visit his old Zen master. When he walked into the house, the master greeted him with a question. "Tell me, did you leave your sandals and umbrella on the porch?" "Yes," replied the teacher. "And tell me," the master continued, "did you leave your umbrella to the left or to the right of your sandals?" The teacher realized he did not know the answer and that he had not yet attained full awareness. He stayed and studied with the master for 10 more years. It's not how much time we practice something. It's how much of ourselves we put into that practice. Blunder, thank you for the follow. Maxi also. Thank you very much. The visuals are a bit trippy, yes. But we just had a story about someone who had mastered something. And now this story just repeats the fact that, or it shows how much effort is needed to put in to one thing. Now this story is this one's a longer one. But I love this story just as much as the last. Once upon a time, a master called to his student and told him to come along to watch him during his bow shooting session. The student had already seen his master shoot his bow at least 100 times. But nevertheless, he followed. They walked through the forest for some time until they reached the usual spot. A huge open field with a giant oak tree right in the middle of it. There the master proceeded to unpack the items he had brought with him. As usual, he took out his long bow and arrows, and as usual, he took out a small feather from under his belt and fixed it to the oak tree. Only this time, he also had a silk cloth with him, which he blindfolded himself with. The student accompanied him to the usual spot, more than 900 feet away from the tree. Then he took his shot as usual. "Go now and see if I hit the flower. Then come back and tell me," he instructed the student. As the student came near the tree, he noticed that not only the flower was intact, but the arrow hadn't even hit the massive oak and was nowhere to be seen. Confused, he went back to his master, uncertain how to tell him what he had seen. So tell me, my student, did it hit the center of the flower as I always do? The master asked him with a smile on his face. The student was feeling uncomfortable at this point. Master, you didn't hit the flower, not even the tree. I couldn't find the arrow. You must have missed by a great length, he answered. Since he would never lie to his master, who, strangely enough, still had a smile on his face. But master, I don't understand, said the student. I thought you wanted to teach me concentration and the power of thought would be enough to make you hit your target. Just so, my dear student, the master replied, seemingly pleased by his words. But you won't hit a target that you can't see. To get to your goal, to get to where you want to be in life, you have to see your target. You have to see your goal. Otherwise, all the concentration and power of thought in the world will make you miss your target because you can't see it. So open your eyes and see where you want to go in life. I love that story. And I'm doing them in order of how much they mean to me. And this one, the first time I heard it, that it doesn't matter how much willpower you have. If you can't see what you are aiming for, you'll never hit it. Resonated with me so strongly. And it's why when I do readings for people, some of you may have heard me say, I want your plans not to come true. Because your plans can only be as strong as what is in your mind, what you are capable of thinking. So don't be scared to believe in the impossible. Because if you're able to see where you want to go, I truly believe you are able to get there. On to the next story. And this is a story about Matajudo, the swordsman. Matajudo was the son of a famous swordsman. His father believed that his son's work was too mediocre to anticipate mastership, and so disowned him. So Matajudo went to Mount Futa, and there found a famous swordsman, Bonzo. But Bonzo confirmed the father's judgment. "You wish to learn swordsmanship under my guidance?" asked Bonzo. "You cannot fulfill the requirements. But if I work hard, how many years will it take me to become a master?" persisted the youth. "The rest of your life," replied Bonzo. "I can't wait that long," explained Matajudo. "I am willing to pass through any hardship if only you will teach me. If I become your devoted servant, how long might it take me to become a master?" "Oh, maybe 10 years, Bonzo relented. "My father is getting old, and soon I must take care of him," continued Matajudo. "If I work far more intensely, how long would it take me to become a master?" "Oh, maybe 30 years, said Bonzo. "Why is that?" asked Matajudo. "First you said 10 years, and now 30? I will undergo any hardship to master this art in the shortest time." "Well," said Bonzo, "in that case, you will have to remain with me for 70 years. A man in such a hurry as you are to get results learns quickly?" "Very well," declared the youth, understanding at last that he was being ridiculed for his impatience. "I agree." Matajudo was told to never speak of fencing and to never touch a sword. He cooked for his master, washed the dishes, made his bed, cleaned the yard, cared for the garden, all without a word of swordsmanship. 3 years passed. Still Matajudo labored on. Thinking of this future, he was sad. He had not even begun to learn the art of which he had devoted his life. But one day, Bonzo crept up behind him and gave him a terrific blow with a wooden sword. The following day, when Matajudo was cooking rice, Bonzo again sprung upon him unexpectedly. After that, day and night, Matajudo had to defend himself from unexpected thrusts. Not a moment passed in any day that he did not have to think of the taste of Bonzo's sword. He learned so rapidly, it brought a smile to his master's face. Mutajudo became the greatest swordsman in the land. I butcher names on stream. I butcher names in my story. But that story, find beauty in each moment, and don't be too eager to reach the finish line, or you may block your own way. On your own path. Thank you, having a good day. And this is my final story. And also my most favorite. I think that made sense. No comment. This is about a samurai. Once upon a time, a samurai who was known for his nobility and honor went to visit a Zen monk to ask advice. However, the moment he encountered the temple where the master was praying, he felt inferior and concluded that in spite of having fought for justice and peace all his life, he hadn't even come near the state of grace achieved by the man before him. Why do I feel so inferior? He asked. As soon as the monk finished his prayers, I have faced death many times, have defended those who are weak. I know I have nothing to be ashamed of. Nevertheless, upon seeing you meditating, I feel that my life has absolutely no importance whatsoever. Wait. Once I have attended to all of those who have come to see me today, I shall answer your question. And so the samurai spent the whole day sitting in the temple's gardens. Watching the people go in and out in search of advice. He saw how the monk received them all with the same patience and in the same illuminated smile on his face. But his enthusiasm soon began to waver, since he had been born to act and not to wait. And so at nightfall, when everyone had gone, he asked, "Now can you teach me?" The master invited him in and led him to his room. The full moon shone in, and the atmosphere was one of profound tranquility. Do you see the moon, how beautiful it is? It will cross the entire monastery, and tomorrow the sun will shine once again. But sunshine is much brighter and can show the details of the landscape around us. Trees, mountains, clouds. I have contemplated the two for years and have never heard the moon say, "Why do I not shine like the sun?" Is it because I am inferior? Of course not, answered the samurai. The moon and the sun are different things. Each has its own beauty. You cannot compare the two. So you know the answer. We are two different people, each fighting in our own ways for that which we believe. And making it possible to make the world a better place. The rest are just mere appearances. Homie, how you doing? And so yes, this is my favorite story. The amount of time I've been streaming today was the amount of time it took me to find this story. And I knew I had to read it. And so, you see, we each have our own strengths and weaknesses. Don't feel inferior because someone else does the same as you do, but in their own way. We all have to use our strengths to improve the world and make it a better place. Just use the talent that God gave you. There is no better or worse way to do things. Just do it your way. That's good to hear, homie. Now, I really thought I was going to make it to an hour. We didn't. But there was one other story that I wanted to tell, but it isn't a story. And I'm just going to play the first, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes of this. And this is, if any of you have heard of Exerbia, maybe next time after every story ask the audience for their opinion or ask some questions. Tell it anyway. Touche. I could do that, rolling dice, but this was more of a one-off. I did enjoy doing the story time. But this was more a reward for those who had been listening to my stories and could get like a bite-sized chunk. And I'll see how it comes out, but I might also add this. I'll add this to my my YouTube channel. But let me pause the music, and I just want you to hear the way this guy talks. And for any of you that know how I do tarot, I like to be blunt, I like to get to the point, and I like to tell everyone what they need to know without the waffle. And the person that I got that from was Exerbia. This is only his latest video. But he did a video on like writing courses, and he goes through his videos and he's relentless, cutting out anything that holds no value, that doesn't add to the story. And I was thinking about writing this down, but I'll let him say it himself. We'll probably only watch about 5 minutes of this. And I might pause it and talk, but if not, I'll definitely put the link in the description, so any of you can watch this at home later on.
Some kind of caffeinated beverage so you can be... Morning comes and you wake. Your first awareness is of boundless misery. You long for some kind of caffeinated beverage so you can be miserable faster. You exit your place of dwelling and enter the beverage establishment a few streets down. Coffee please, you say to the barista. Milk or no milk, they ask. Milk please, you say. Colombian or Brazilian beans? Colombian, you say. It really doesn't matter. Northern or Southern Colombia? Really? I don't mind. I don't mind. Good choice. Now, beans that grow at 3,000 or 4,000 feet. What difference does... I don't care. I don't care. Well, there are at least 15,000 growers in that region. I really don't mind. Would you prefer your grower likes or dislikes rappers whose names begin with the prefix Lil? What? Lil Pump, for example. What? I don't give a shit. Lil Yachty, Lil Uzi Vert, Lil Chair, Lil Table, Lil Dachshund, Lil Harpsichord, Lil Tokamak Nuclear Fusion Reactor. Well, Buddhists believe that is the human condition. Sort of. A perpetual cycle.
Alright, just a heads up. If you know who Exerbia is, he embodies the phrase living with an existential crisis. And let me make sure I put this in the chat now for anyone that wants to watch this, or just save it. But it is beautiful.
Of chasing after contentment and ultimately receiving only dissatisfaction. This dissatisfaction is called dukkha, and this game of rebirthing over and over into dissatisfaction happens in samsara, which is where we live apparently. And the idea is we stay in samsara, living, learning, dying, being reborn, until we hopefully attain enlightenment. But what's enlightenment? How is wisdom achieved? What in the sweet bejesus is going on with giraffes' tongues? No, but look at that. And that. And just... It's been a weird year. Well,
touche.
That, let's talk about the big man himself, Siddhartha Gautama, who you will surely recognize from his stage name, the Buddha. We begin in Nepal about 2,500 years ago. Siddhartha Gautama is born into a cushy royal family, and trying to be nice, Siddhartha's dad shields him from the nasty things in life and keeps him in a massive palace. Until, at 29 years old, on a rare jaunt outside the palace, Siddhartha notices people who are like way sick, and like way old, and like way dead, and realizes, as my climber friends insist on informing joining me. The universe is a pretty gnarly place, bro. So, soon after, he leaves his kingdom and sets off in search of a way to rid the world of suffering. It's a long story, but finally Siddhartha sits under a tree, determining that he will not get up again until he has realized the true nature of mind. The demon Mara approaches him and tries to lure Siddhartha away from enlightenment with distraction and lust, but Siddhartha is like, I'm busy, cheers, and indeed becomes enlightened and attains nirvana. Nirvana literally meaning to blow out, to extinguish. We'll get to it in a bit, but it was then that Siddhartha became the Buddha, or literally the awakened one, because he was now free of the three great poisons: delusion, greed, and hate. So one would imagine he was, as my climber friends like to say, pretty stoked, bro. And on your marks, get set, Buddhism, a world religion, is born. Oh yeah,
I'll leave it there. But I would recommend anybody watching this to watch the whole of this. It is beautiful to listen to.
Slightly tubby smile.
But from me, stay kind, stay cute, stay curious, my friends. And I will see you all very soon.